How's it going, YouTube examples? TCG here, coming at you with a brand new video, and today I'm bringing you guys another deck profile on YuGiOh Pro 2. Today was supposed to be the day that I went to YuGiOh Locals for the first time for the actual local event and actually play, get some recordings, get some deck profiles, all that kind of different stuff for you guys. And unfortunately, I actually ended up waking up a little bit later than I wanted to, which therefore meant that I wasn't able to go to the event and actually record the videos and get videos for you guys for the week coming up. Which is fine. I would have preferred obviously to go there and actually get the videos for you guys so I had in real life content rather than continuously bringing you guys a load of different videos on YuGiOh Pro 2. Don't worry, there will be in real life videos coming very soon, but for now, whilst I don't have any of those videos stocked up or any of those videos ready made or any of those videos that I can actually record, I'm just going to bring you guys obviously some deck profiles and different bits and bobs on YuGiOh Pro 2. So today, once again, as I said, we are going through a deck profile, and this time it's going to be a strictly 6 Samurai deck profile. I brought you guys a deck profile of my Samurai Sworn deck, which is my Light Sworn / 6 Samurai build. And as much as I love that deck, I also love the 6 Samurais and the Light Sworns as standalone decks as well. So I am going to bring you guys both a 6 Samurai and a Light Sworn standalone deck profile for you guys to obviously digest, enjoy, maybe build yourself if you wish to. So today's going to be the 6 Samurai build, and then the Light Sworn build will be probably a few days time, if not tomorrow. It all depends on obviously when I do get round to uploading the Light Sworn deck profile. But still, let's dive into the 6 Samurai deck that I have built here on YuGiOh Pro 2. If I was going to play this deck in real life, which I am kind of contemplating doing, this is the type of build that I would run, just because I feel that this is the most consistent build for myself and my playstyle. Obviously, it's not the most consistent build for everyone. Everyone's playstyle is different. Everyone obviously plays the deck differently. Everyone likes different card choices. But for me, this is the actual deck list that I would play if I was going to play this deck in real life. So I play 3 copies of Shadow 6 Samurai Fuma, basically the new version of Kaigeki. It's a tuner, it's a level 1. If the card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one 6 Samurai monster from your deck except Fuma. If exactly one 6 Samurai monster you control and no other cards would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So obviously, the tuner aspect means that you can go into your Xian, your Barking, and your Beast a little bit easier than obviously you could before, because you've got the extra tuner in there. And at the same time, when this particular card dies, you can special summon another 6 Samurai from your deck. It doesn't state obviously any type of level variation, so it doesn't say that it has to be, I don't know, a level 4 or lower. It literally just says 6 Samurai, so you could even bring out the likes of your Grandmaster if you so desired. That is obviously one way to bring him out, but then obviously you've got all the other cards that you could target as well. And the second effect is quite useful as well if you want to keep 6 Samurais on the board, for example for your Link plays, or just keep them on the board in general. And this card's in the graveyard, being able to banish this card to save that particular card from a card effect is quite handy in the current meta, in my opinion, hence why I run 3 copies of Fuma. I then run 3 copies of Kizan, probably one of, if not the best 6 Samurai card that is out at this present moment in time. This guy, obviously you can special summon him if you control another 6 Samurai monster with a different name. And if you control 2 or more 6 Samurai monsters, this guy gains 300 attack and defense. Obviously, if you have 2 or more, as I said, which means that you can use asceticism on Kizan to then get your Grandmaster out if it does obviously have the boosted 300 and attack and defense, which is quite handy for a lot of reasons. Number one, it allows you to obviously bring out a lot more cards with asceticism rather than just the usual Cage Musa and Alder plays, or even the Kaigeki and the Fuma plays. So it just allows a little bit more diversity in the deck, and it allows a little bit more of a heavier play style, a bit more of a board rush play style, if you would like. So obviously 3 copies of Kizan in the deck. Then run 2 copies of Kaigeki and 2 copies of Cage Musa. I was going to run 3 Kaigeki, 1 Cage Musa, but then I thought to myself, I kind of want to have at least 5 tuners in this deck, which is obviously the Fuma and the Cage Musas. So I decided, you know what, I will run 2 Cage Musa, 2 Kaigeki. I feel like that would be the better balance between those 2 cards, hence why I do run the 2 cards. Obviously, if you have a Kaigeki in your hand, you can obviously use his effect to get Cage Musa out, Synchro Summon into your Xian, and you've got a pretty quick Xian out on your side of the field. Another play that I used to do back in the day when I used to run 6 Samurais, obviously half the cards in this deck weren't around there. For example, the Shadow 6 Samurais and the Lynx. But still, I would use to, if I had a Kizan, Kaigeki, and Cage Musa, if I was lucky enough to have that hand, I'd summon the Kaigeki, special the Cage Musa, then I would obviously special summon the Kizan, and you've got pretty much a pretty good board there and then. But then if you synchro these two into a Xian, that's a nice board as well, or you could synchro the Cage Musa and the Kizan together to get the Barkion out. So there was a lot of different plays that you could make in this particular deck. Obviously this guy is quite handy to have. If you don't run him, I would suggest either running him or Beast or both. I like to run both just for personal preference. But as I said, the plays that you can make with just these three cards, the Kizan, Kaigeki, and Cage Musa, is quite powerful. And then run 2 copies of Katsumi, it's Hatsumi should I say. You can banish 2 6 Samurai monsters from your graveyard and or face up on your field. Target 1 6 Samurai monster in your graveyard except Hatsume. Special summon it. You can only use this effect of Secret Samurai Hatsume once per turn. If exactly 1 6 Samurai monster you control and no other card would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So obviously it has exactly the same secondary effect as Fuma, which means that you can keep a lot of your 6 Sams on the board and obviously continue to make your plays from there. And its first effect, being able to banish 2 monsters from your graveyard, or obviously 6 Sams from your graveyard, or from your side of the field to special summon a 6 Samurai from your graveyard. 9 times out of 10, you don't really want to use this effect on something like a Cage Musa or a Kaigeki unless you really want to go into your synchros or obviously some sort of link play. I would normally use the Hatsumi on either Grandmaster, Kizan, those type of cards, because they're probably the better cards to use it on, hence why I only run the 2 copies of Hatsume. If it was a little bit of a better card, stats wise it's not too bad at 1600 to 1500. If it was a little bit of a better card in the sense of the effect, I probably would run 3, but considering it's not, and it's not even a tuner, I run it at 2. Then on the sole copy of Grandmaster, there's not really much need to run one more than this. You can only control one of them on your side of the field anyway, and he's more of an asceticism target for the Kizan regardless of everything else. And obviously you can control, if you control 1 6 Samurai monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, or at least a 6 Samurai monster, you can special summon it from your hand. And if this card in your possession is destroyed by opponent's card effect, target 1 6 Samurai monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. Normally I would recycle my tuners, so the Fuma and the Cage Musa for Grandmaster, or I'd bring out the Kizan or even the Hatsumi depending on the situation. I then run 1 copy of Great Shogun Xian. This card is pretty underrated in my personal opinion. Basically, if you guys don't know what it does, if you control 2 or more face-up 6 Samurai monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Your opponent can only activate 1 spell trap card each turn. If this would be destroyed, you can destroy a face-up 6 Samurai monster you can control instead. And it's a 2500 beta as well, making it the most powerful card stat-wise in this deck, which is half the reason I run it, but the other half of the reason is exactly because of its effect as well. I then run 1 copy of Mizuo and 1 copy of Shinai. These 2 cards work very, very well in tandem with each other, so if you guys don't know what they do individually, if you control legendary 6 Samurai Shinani, or I can't even remember how I pronounced it before, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn you contribute another face-up 6 Samurai monster you control, then target 1 card in the field and destroy that target. And the other side of it, the blue guy, is if you control legendary 6 Samurai Mizuo, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card on the field is tributed, target 1 6 Samurai monster in your graveyard except Shinai and add it to your hand. So obviously you can play Shinai, special summon Mizuo, tribute Shinai, and then add obviously a 6 Samurai monster to your hand from your graveyard. So it's quite a powerful combo. You can just continually recycle your plays. It also allows you to recycle your tuners as well, which is one of the main things you want to do. But as you can see in my side deck, I only run 4 synchros anyway, and the rest are link monsters. So this also allows you to go into your links a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, and a little bit more effectively as well. And then run 1 copy of Alda. Basically, obviously, this card is a Cyber Dragon for yourself on your first turn, especially if you see it first turn. You could special summon Alda, and especially if you've got other stuff that you can special. For example, you could go Alda, Cage Musa, Kizan, synchro Alda and Cage Musa into the Beast, and then you've got a Beast and a Kizan on your side of the field turn 1. Or if you don't want to go down that route and you want to keep all of your 6 samurais on the board for Kizan's obviously bump ability of the 300 attack and defense, and then use the asceticism to then get out Grandmaster, if you have like the ideal hand, it is a mind-boggling play that you can make with that particular card. So that is why I only run the 1 copy in this deck. Looking back at my Samurai Swan deck that I made, I obviously run this card at 3. I'm more than likely going to be bumping it down and changing things, but I need to play test the deck at locals to make sure I want to make the changes that I'm thinking of making. Because what I was going to think of making is bumping this guy down to 1 and then putting these 2 into that Samurai Swan deck, just to add a little bit more spice to the deck and a little bit more technicality, I guess you could say. But that's a different deck profile for a different day if that ends up being changed. And then run 1 copy of Kizaru. When this card is special summoned, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 6 samurai monster with a different attribute from every monster you control. If exactly 1 6 samurai monster you control and no other cards will be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Again, it's like the other 2 Shadow 6 samurai cards I run. You can banish the card to protect another card, but at the same time, with regards to the activation of a special summon of this card, you can then add from your deck to your hand obviously a 6 samurai monster you can with a different attribute from every monster you control. So obviously there's a lot of earth monsters in this particular deck, so you don't really want to go for earth, but you've still got the water, you've got the wind, you've also got fire as well. So there's a lot of different options, and obviously water. So there's a lot of different options to you with regards to Kizaru in this build, hence why I do run the 1 copy. I wouldn't run any more than 1 copy in this deck. Obviously other people will have a different opinion on that, but I personally just like to run 1 copy of Kizaru. And then I run 2 hand traps in the form of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I just feel like this is the best hand trap we've got in the current game at this moment in time. Obviously you've got Ghost Ogre and you've also got Ghost Reaper, but I just don't feel like they are as good as Ash Blossom. If I could run Ghost Reaper, Ash Blossom in other decks that I've profiled for you guys in real life, I would run them over the hand traps I currently run. But obviously this isn't an in real life deck profile, so I can actually build the decks how I want to and obviously bring them to you guys, hence why Ash Blossom is in this deck. I then run 3 copies of 6 Samurai United, 2 copies of Dojo and 2 copies of Asceticism. I feel like that is the best lineup for these 3 cards. Obviously United, you can get counters, you can draw cards, it's just adding a little bit more consistency to the deck. The Dojo, if you guys have forgotten what it does or don't know what it does, each time a 6 samurai monster is normal or special summon, place a counter on this card. You can send this card to your graveyard to special summon 1 6 samurai or Shien effect monster from your main deck whose level is less than or equal to the number of counters on this card. With regards to this guy, I would normally try and get the counters up to a point where I can summon out Great Shogun Shien or even Grandmaster, depending on whether I have used one of these 2 cards already. This is mainly used for the Great Shogun Shien, if I'm perfectly honest with you guys. But as I said, if I've already summoned Great Shogun Shien, it can then be used for anything else in the deck, obviously apart from Ash Blossom, and normally it will be targeting my Grandmaster anyway. Then run 2 copies, as I said, of Asceticism of the 6 Samurai. This card just allows you to make a lot better plays with a bad board, if that makes sense. So for example, if I've got a Kizan out on the board and 2 very low attack value 6 Sams, I can bring out another high attack value 6 Sam in the form of Grandmaster. Or if I want to go into the like the synchro side of things, for example, I've got quite a few Link monsters already on the board, and I think, okay, I want to go into the synchro side of things now. I could go Cage Musa and Alder. Is it Cage Musa and Alder? Yeah, Cage Musa and Alder. Sorry, I completely forgot whether they were targetable for each other. And obviously that can bring out the beast. And there's a lot of different plays that Asceticism allows you to make, is basically what I'm trying to say. I would run it at 3 if I could find space to run it at 3. Yes, I could run a 41 card deck, but I like to keep my 6 Sams to exactly 40 just to add consistency to the deck, hence why I do run the 2 copies rather than 3. I then run 3 copies of Shien's Smoke Signal, pretty self-explanatory. You can add 1 level 3 or lower 6 samurai monster from your deck to your hand, which is pretty much half of the deck that you're running, bar obviously the Kizan, the Shogun Shien, and the Grandmaster. Everything else, and the Kizaru, everything else is searchable via CN Smoke Signal, again adding consistency to your deck. Then the best spell card you run in the deck is Gateway of the Six. This card is insane. If you saw this, if this went back to 3, you'd probably see a lot more 6 Samurai builds flying around in your local tournaments, your regionals, your YCSs, whatever you attend to play, obviously, the card game. If this card was at 3, I feel like you would see a lot more 6 Samurais floating around. But as it's at 1, obviously not many people are touching this particular deck, and it's understandable. But still, having 1 copy of this card is insane regardless. And then run 1 copy of Upstart, obviously thinning out your deck and making your cards 39 rather than 40 is obviously a lot better. It allows you to go into your plays a little bit quicker. Reinforcement of the Army, because you're playing Warriors, pretty self-explanatory card. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, I would recommend putting this card in every single deck. And yes, I know it is not in my Samurai Sworn deck. That is going to change. I'll probably end up adding it into my Samurai Sworn and taking out one of the cards that is actually in the main deck at this moment in time. 1 copy of Soul Charge. This card is insane. Obviously, it's been around for so long that it's undoubtedly needed to be at 1. If it was at 3, it will probably send me insane just to see it at 3. But still, 1 copy of Soul Charge. I then run 2 copy of Double-Edged Sword Technique. I know a lot of 6 Samurai players do not run this card. I like to run this card because it allows you to go into your links and your synchros a little bit easier and a little bit more effectively. Hence why I do run 2 copies of this card in the deck. If I'm going to be honest, guys, I would recommend, if you don't like this card, to run the full Solemn Brigade of 3 strike, 1 judgment, 1 warning over the Double-Edged Sword Technique. But if you like Double-Edged Sword Technique, try it out at 2, try it out at 1, see which one you prefer. I wouldn't recommend putting it at 3 because I feel like that's too much. But I definitely do enjoy this card. I definitely like this card. It allows you to go back into plays that you haven't made already a lot more efficiently. Hence why I do run 2 copies of this card. And then, as I alluded to, I run the Solemn Brigade of Warning, Judgment and Strike. Obviously, I would run at least 1 more copy of Judgment, not Warning, Judgment if I could, but obviously we can't. So I run 1 of each just to shut down plays of obviously my opponent and just hopefully be able to add a little bit more board pressure by shutting down certain plays that they make. So that's the main deck, obviously 40 cards exactly. Moving on to the extra deck, I run 2 copies of Xian, pretty self-explanatory. You're running a 6 Samurai deck, so this card is probably one of the best synchro cards to have in a 6 Samurai deck because it obviously revolves around that particular archetype. I run 1 copy of Beast, 1 copy of Barkion. Again, pretty self-explanatory cards within a 6 Samurai deck. There's a lot of decks out there that do run just 1 of each. For example, a lot of decks will just run Beast, a lot of decks will just run Barkion. It's entirely up to yourself whether you run both, whether you run 1, all that kind of different stuff. I like both of them, hence why they're both in here. But as I said, a lot of builds only run the Beast or only run the Barkion. If you're going to run 1, I'd recommend the Beast over the Barkion, but if you're going to run, obviously, 1 of each, fair enough. Then run 1 copy of Boar Load Dragon, 2 copies of Skuldred the Chained Draco Serpent, or Saryuja Skuldred, depending on obviously where you're playing the card game. 1 copy of Firewall Dragon, 1 copy of Trigate Wizard. This guy allows me to go into the extra link a little bit quicker, not a little bit quicker, a little bit more easily. I then play a Binary Sorceress. Not many people run Binary Sorceress. I like to run Binary Sorceress just so it adds a little bit more value, I guess, within the deck and allows you to extend your plays a little bit further, I guess. I then run 2 copies of Isildale, probably one of the best cards for a warrior deck by a country mile. If you run warriors, or if you're thinking of running a hybrid build like I do of the Light Sworn 6 Samurai deck, I would thoroughly recommend even running at least 1 copy of this card because it is absolutely insane with warriors. If you guys don't know what it does, if this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Warrior monster from your deck to your hand, but for the rest of this turn you cannot normal summon, set or special summon monsters with that name, nor activate their monsters' effects. You can send any number of equipped spells with different names from your deck to a graveyard, special summon 1 Warrior monster from your deck, whose level equals the number of cards sent to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Isildale, 2 Tails and Noble Knights once per turn. So obviously the second effect is null and void in this deck. You're not using it for equipped spells. That's pretty much if you're going to be using this card in a actual Noble Knight deck, which is actually something I want to profile in the future. and I'll probably do that profile in real life because I think I've got a lot of the cards I want for the Noble Knight deck in real life. So once I've obviously sorted that out, I'll bring you that to you guys. But this card is mainly there for the first effect, which is you can add a warrior monster from your deck to your hand, but obviously it can't be normal summon, special summon, set, or use its effects for the rest of that turn. It just adds a little bit more of a consistency value. I know I said that a lot in this deck or in this profile, but it just adds a lot of consistency, a lot of value, and a lot of pluses in the deck, hence why I do run 2 copies. I then run 2 copies of Underclock Taker, again just adds in the extra link a little bit smoother, I guess you could say, and then run 1 copy of MX Saber Invoker. Once per turn you can attach 1 material from this card, special summon 1 level 4 Earth Warrior or Warrior Beast monster from the deck in defense position, but destroy it during the end phase. Invoker is just a good card, hence why I've put it in there. If I was going to take a card out, I would probably take out the Invoker and add in another Link monster, but as I wouldn't know what Link monster I wanted to add in, Invoker is in this particular profile. And that is going to round up the deck, guys. So if you did enjoy it, obviously please leave a like, rating, and subscribe to the channel for more trading card game content. In the future, you will be seeing a lot of different card games from me. Obviously, the main focus will still be through Yu-Gi-Oh! But I'm going to be hopping into Pokemon because I have actually looked into a Pokemon league and whether there's one in my town. And I actually found out there is one in my town. So I'm probably going to start playing Pokemon a little bit more actively and a little bit more often, which means I can split my time between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon like in real life and actually go and meet people and obviously get their profiles and get some content in real life at these 2 different events. I also want to start opening some other trading card games and start collecting some other trading card games. So if you know of any trading card games that you would like me to collect, please let me know and I'm more than happy to do so. I also want to start looking at some of the like the trading card games that people create on the Game Crafter. I follow or have subscribed to a few channels on YouTube that have obviously people that create their own trading card games, so I might actually buy some of their products and see what they're like and see if I enjoy their card game basically and give my review on their card game. And speaking of card games that people have created, if you guys haven't already like heard or haven't already like watched any of my videos before, I am in the process of making my own trading card game. I'll leave a link to the channel of that particular trading card game in the description down below when it is made. It will be made very, very soon. I am making a lot of progress with the trading card game. The only progress I'm not making is with the artwork because I can't draw at the moment. I am, well, I can't draw very well, let's put it that way. So I'm looking into like not courses, but like a load of different books to help me improve my drawing and my artwork, so then I can actually start doing the artwork myself. So some of the videos you may see from that particular channel to start with might show off other people's artwork, and obviously artwork that I haven't drawn. I won't take any credit for it. I'll probably put the artist's name at the bottom of the card, and I'll obviously say at the start of the video none of the artwork is my own, but I won't be actually releasing the card game to people on the Game Crafter itself until I can release it with artwork that I can actually release it with, if that makes sense. Whether I do it or whether I find someone that is happy to help with regards to creating artwork for the cards, we'll have to wait and see. But obviously that's going to have its own separate channels when that is made, guys. There will be a link down in the description down below for you guys to go and check that out. Also, if you are into Fortnite and Destiny 2 and you want to see myself live stream that particular content, again, there'll be a link to my Twitch channel in the description down below, guys. But nevertheless, thank you for tuning into this deck profile. I hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you in my next video.